So I guess Juliet saw, or is pretending she saw my video. Because if she did, it just went over her head, or I don't know. She doesn't seem to be. Reading this comment on her channel, this post, it doesn't sound like she saw the video, so it's whatever. Let's address this comment real quick. Yes, I saw, she says, with regards to my video. And I'm not really interested in getting into this stuff because for me it comes down to the fact I believe you can greatly influence your health using diet, and he doesn't. So, yeah, I guess that's somewhat true, right? But again, what evidence do you have for this belief, right? Now, this is, I think, this whole dogma that, food is medicine, which is for the most part just nonsense. Now, look, if you make yourself sick by eating a nutritionally deficient diet, right? Starving yourself of certain nutrients in a sense. Well, yeah, you could quote unquote cure that by, reintroducing those nutrients, right? But it's the food that got you sick, right? And now it's food that's uh, making you healthy once again, right? It's just the right kind of food, I guess, the right kind of nutrition, right? Poor nutrition. So to say food is medicine when it's food that got you sick in the first place, yeah, it's a little. Food isn't medicine, right? Now, yes, you can use food to recover from some kind of an injury, right? Food can provide the kind of nutrition or the building blocks of life, if you will, to like help you rebuild your body from an injury, at least to some degree. Yeah, okay. But does that make it medicine, right? Or is it more of a building block? Is it sustenance, right? That's not really medicine, right? But you know, can you greatly influence your health using diet? Yeah, like if you eat poorly, you'll get sick. Like everybody knows this, right? But my contention was, and this is why I'm not sure if you even listened to what was being said. But my contention is that you seem to think that diet is, the end all be all of health, whereas uh, I take a more holistic look at health, right? And I'm not gonna brag or anything, but the proof is in the pudding, right? You yourself admit to being sick, so you know, are you greatly influencing your health with diet? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know why you're sick, but you said, I ate this and I got really sick. Okay, well then, yeah, I guess you're making yourself sick with food while at the same time, giving advice. But that's the whole point, right? Like, you can't even, you don't even know what to eat, right? And that was one other big contention because there you are studying what to eat, right? Meaning that you don't know what to eat. And while at the same time giving advice on what other people should eat when you don't know what to eat. Address that, right? Anyway, but yeah, I mean, diet, yeah, it's just one factor. And this whole diet sphere um, is just fixated on the diet god, right? That's why I call it a religion, because they don't seem to think that health is multifactorial. Now, some people do, a lot of people do, but it's just I think they put too much emphasis on diet, and the proof is in the pudding, right? You put so much emphasis on diet as uh, and it's not just you. I mean, you're posting photos on your channel of some guy on the carnivore diet that supposedly looks good, but just had a triple bypass, right? Someone who put a lot of emphasis on diet, and there he is, sick, right? Just like you, just like vegetable police, just like Sveria. I mean, just take one look at the guy, right? But you think he's healthy? Come on. Look at Frankie over there. Look at all the vegans. But you know about the vegans, so why should I mention them, right? Yeah, like you put too much emphasis on diet and people like you, as a key to health. And I'm saying, well, no wonder you're sick, because you don't seem to, you're not taking a holistic, at least not enough, a holistic look at health, right? And I think you're, well, we'll get to that in a second, maybe. Besides that, I will always reserve the right to change my mind. Besides that, comma, I will always reserve the right to change my mind and think it's odd that this is so discouraged in the health sphere. Now, I'm not in the health sphere, um, so I'm not sure if she's talking about those people over there. I don't know. Yeah, there's the diet wars is something I've talked about. People are ideological and territorial, and yeah, there's definitely that sentiment there. Now, why are you calling it a health sphere when most of you clowns are sick? It seems like dishonest to me, or deluded or something. You know what I mean? Anyway, but if insofar as I'm concerned, like I never said timestamp, right? In the video where I said that you don't have the right to change your mind, right? What I aim to point out, and I'm a shitty teacher, it is what it is. So maybe I didn't do a good job explaining that. But what I was trying to say, if I didn't imply that, I'm gonna say it explicitly now. You're There's a difference. There is and there isn't a difference between changing your mind when new information comes in and being fickle, at least insofar as degrees, right? The reason why you change your mind so often and a lot is because, as I pointed out in that video, the way you come about knowledge is bogus, right? You're not very good at what reason, logic. You're not very rational. Like your premises and conclusions, they don't cohere, right? You're not coherent. So it's very easy to, well, destroy your beliefs, right? Undermine your beliefs. It's very easy for you to change your beliefs. That's why you're fickle. It's because you don't know how to gain knowledge, true knowledge, right? It's just all like belief, 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 belief. I mean, I said that you don't understand these studies. How do I know that? It's because I don't fucking understand half of the shit that's in these studies. And I know you don't even, I'm convinced that you don't even take the time to read these studies. Do you have any videos on your channel looking at some of these studies critically and explaining them to us, right? All of that, right? Just before you even get to all of that, you have to assume that what you see on that piece of paper actually correlates to something that happened in reality, right? It could just be someone writing some shit on paper and completed another forgery, in other words, right? It's happened before in this field of science. So like you're giving a lot of faith to just some words on the paper, right? Because you don't know if they correlate to actual events in the real world, A, and B, do you even know like what's being said there? I seriously doubt it. So it's like science though, right? But that's but that's because, it's easy for you to change your mind, and that's because you don't do meta analysis, as I stated in that video, where you gather all these. It would take you forever. It would take you hours, right, to look at all these studies. Again, assuming that they actually correlate to actual events in the real world. You'd have to spend hours reading all these studies, learning scientific jargon, all these procedures, I mean, mechanisms, just statistics, right? Like high level math and statistics. Like you literally have to go study this stuff to be able to, do a meta analysis that's worthwhile. And then you could, come to a very tentative conclusion as to what the right course of action might be, right? Coffee or no coffee? Is coffee good or is coffee bad, right? But ain't nobody got the time to do that, right? Some people do. You certainly don't. So you'll read a blurb from one study, right? And it will say coffee good, so then you'll drink coffee, and then you'll read a blurb next week from another study that says coffee bad, and then you'll just stop drinking coffee, right? because studies, right? Because the way you come to quote unquote, well, at least you're honest about that. You don't know anything. You just believe, right? You just you're fickle, right? It's not rational. That's why probably I don't know really, but that's probably why you're still sick, right? Because you don't know what to eat. So yeah, no one says you don't have the right to change your mind. What I was trying to explain is that the reason why you change your mind so damn much is because you suck at this, right? It's not based in reason, logic. You don't make hardly any sense talking about this stuff, right? I mean, you look at some guy's Instagram and you like assume you know everything there is to know about that person, their their genetic preconditions, right? Like their entire lifestyle, what they do, what they have done their entire life, what kind of toxins they've put into their bodies. You know everything there is to know about them, right? That's that's literally what you would have to know about that person to make this conclusion that the guy was on a carnivore diet, he had a triple bypass, so meat was the culprit there, right? That doesn't make any sense. Where's your evidence for this? Because the guy ate meat, so that means he had a triple bypass because he ate meat. Well, he also jaywalked, right? He also exercised. He also what else did he do? Well, you don't even know, right? But he breathed air, right? Is that maybe breathing air? And people will, people think I'm joking. I'm not fucking joking. What's in the air that he's breathing that's potentially causing inflammation in his body, right? Hmm? Like we have a pretty good idea what causes heart disease, and it's not saturated fat. Like we know basically. I feel confident in saying that. It's been well known for quite some time. But if all the scientists were to admit that, then half of them would be, well, at least the ones interested in this particular field, right, heart disease, would be out of a fucking job, and well, they couldn't sell you any pharmaceuticals. What is this, rocket science or something? So yeah, the guy ate beef and he got heart disease. Proof, proof. Like really? So then next day you'll get a vegan who gets heart disease, and well, you're gonna have to change because that's how you came to the conclusion in the first place. Meat bad. Now you're gonna have to say, well, no, meat good because this person, this is how stupid it is. This is why you're so fickle. That's why you don't make any sense. Yeah, you have the right to change your mind, and I have the right to criticize the dumb shit you're putting out there. That's and I don't think you're doing this um, maliciously or anything, and you're probably not even aware of this. But like, you're taking advantage of vulnerable people out there and giving them shit advice, right? But that's the health sphere, basically, all of it, just about. Anyway, I will always reserve the right to change my mind. It's like when people can't address the arguments that are being made, that they it's you're attacking their person, right? They're no, I'm not attacking your right to do stuff, right? I'm attacking the way in which the idiotic way in which you do things. It doesn't make any sense. And then you're putting it out there like you're part of some kind of fucking health sphere. You mean the sixth sphere? What a world it would be if doctors and scientists could admit to being wrong and make amendments for their prior beliefs in an honest and transparent way. Ah, what a world it would be if car mechanics could admit to being wrong and make amendments to their prior beliefs in an honest and transparent way. So if you take your car to a car mechanic and they return it to you all fucked up, right? Because well, they just decided to open up a mechanic shop without having any prior experience, right? Never even fixed their own car, right? But they decided to just open up a business fixing people's cars, and they fuck your shit up. So long as they say, "Oh, well, I was wrong about that, and now I no longer believe that the best way to fix a leaky gas tank is with a hammer," right? I no longer believe that. I have grown as a person. Oh, I've done so much growth. Like, why are you comparing yourself to doctors and scientists? Right? Doctors have to deal with, especially these days, for example, right, novel diseases for which there is no clear-cut cure. They kind of have to experiment in many ways, right? We should be able to know what to eat. If a fucking monkey can figure it out, right? And we evolved from monkeys, why can't we figure it out? Why is this like why is this rocket science? Why is it rocket science? Hmm? Is it because of food addiction and because health, you know, good or bad health is influenced by, a whole bunch of different factors, not just food? Is that why maybe? For me, it's refreshing to see people grow in that regard. So you're implying that you're growing, right? How are you growing? By being fickle. It's like vegetable police. How is he growing? I mean, I haven't checked him out in a long, 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 long time, but for a long time there, he was just constantly sick. How was he growing? How are you growing when you can't even like comprehend what's being, or you refuse to address what's being said, right? Why can't you just come out and say, I don't know what to eat, right? There you are giving advice, implying that you know what to eat. Well, how is it that you know what to eat when you're studying what to eat, right? If I know how to fix cars, do I still study how to fix cars, or do I just fix cars? Doctors though, right? Doctors though. Is it like this Catholic phenomenon? Is that what it is? It's like no matter how much you sin, you always have that confession to go to, which I know this isn't how it's supposed to be, but that's essentially a de facto result of the system, I think, for some people anyway, right? Well, you could do bad because you always have that option. You could always just go and confess your sins, and it's like you wipe the slate clean, right? Is that what this is? That's a fucked up way to look at the world, man. It's a fucked up way to live. And the beauty, continuing, of having so many opinions online. I mean, having many opinions, there's something beautiful about what? What's beautiful about a multitude of just people talking, having different opinions? I don't understand why this is beautiful or helpful. Maybe really, it's helpful because every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's sick is giving people advice on how to be healthy. That maybe that's why you call it beauty, because it's certainly not helpful. And the beauty of having so many opinions online is that you can follow whomever you like, and you can get a diverse array of opinions and come to your own conclusions. Now, how the fuck are you coming to your own conclusions when you're basing your opinion on a multitude of other people's opinions? Are you really coming to your own conclusions? I mean, I guess in some sense, maybe that's possible, but that doesn't sound very coherent to me. Anyway, I won't be giving up my passion anytime soon, right? I love discovering more and more about the power that diet has on our. How are you discovering that? What have you discovered? You discovered that veganism is bad, but like science already. No, what's these grand? I mean, I don't know. What are these grand discoveries that you've made? That eating a nutritionally deficient diet is not healthy? That's some kind of a discovery? Like we already knew, everyone already knows, right? There might be in denial or they're lying or whatever, but science, right, already knows, has proved that, insofar as science can prove things, that veganism is a deficient diet. So why did you go vegan? And is it really like that kind of a revelation? Is it really growing? I mean, that sort of growing for monkeys in the jungle, right? And I understand we're not that, but kind of an analogy, I guess. That kind of growing, takes what, 6 months, a year, 2 years from birth, and they figure it out, right? Yeah, they have the parents or whatever pack members guide them, help them out, feed them a little bit, and then they figure it out, and then they do just fine after that, right? How old are you? And well, why is that, right? Like, why is it that you're, I'm gonna guess, mid 30s, and you don't know what to eat, right? And you're calling that growing? What? Like, are you serious? Like, I'm dead fucking serious. Are you serious? I mean, I suppose so. I guess it's growth, but I mean, it's retarded, right? Like, literally, the growth is retarded. Because you should have been known that at the age of what, 12 maybe, right? We develop a lot slower than monkeys, right? Because we've evolved from them. We have a common ancestor. You okay? Like, what have you discovered? Like, what's this power that diet has on our health, right? What is it? What have you discovered that if you don't eat what your ancestors ate, you might get sick? You might not be well? Have, have you discovered that? Really? Then why are you still sick? So why is this, right? Like, because obviously we're not monkeys in the jungle, right? And in some ways, our life has been, well, at least insofar as our natural diet is concerned, right? It has been complicated because we're no longer in that primordial, if you will, or original environment, right? Where food was just there and we went and we procured it, we grew some of it, right? We just figured it out, we hunted it, we picked it, we got it when we ate it. I get that. Like, it's a lot of grifters got involved and started, convinced us to eat garbage, right? That's really what it is. We've been There's been a lot of effort put into us unlearning what to eat, what's good for us, right? Nutrition has been taken out of food, literally taken out of food and put into a pill bottle, right? Like, look at milk or dairy products, for example, right? They kill all the good stuff that's in, like probiotics or whatever vitamins, and then they sell you that shit in a bottle, right? Oh, you can't digest milk? Well, take these probiotic pills over here, right? So yeah, that's that's one reason why, right? And obviously, or maybe it's not so obvious to a lot of people. The reason why we're sick is because we're constantly being assaulted with whatever it may be, right? Pollution, EMF, injections, um, stress, wearing shoes all the damn time, right? All kinds of different things. So yeah, that's a big part of it too, definitely, right? But you, Juliet, are exactly the kind of person that perpetuates this nonsense, right? Because, like, figuring out what to eat is not that fucking difficult. A monkey can do it, right? A little bit of help, a little bit of guidance, right? Well, just look to your ancestors, right? Maybe not your mom and pop because they probably failed because that's probably when the whole nonsense with the takeover of the food supply, right? The control over the food supply and big pharma, and that's I'm guessing that's the generation that got hit, really got hit hard, right? So maybe, 2, 3 generations back, if you could dig that far back, I don't know, maybe go to the library and take out some books and look at what those people ate, right? Like in your clan, more or less, right? Who gives a shit what the Japanese eat? Are you Japanese? I'm not Japanese. My wife is half Japanese, and her earwax is nothing like mine, right? For example, right? Like, are we maybe her and I? Yeah, okay, maybe kind of same species, but like when you look at a Northern European and an African pygmy, right? Are they really the same species? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, right? So why should they eat the same thing, right? Who gives a fuck what the Japanese eat? What does that got to do with me? I'm not Japanese. Are you Japanese? Right? So yeah, go try to research what your clan ate, right? And see if you could procure those kind of foods, right? I mean, like, why is this rocket science, right? Why is this rocket science? Well, because people like you make it rocket science. People like you, and I don't think you're doing this knowingly or maliciously. No, I think you're just lost, right? But people like you mystify food and diet, right? You make it seem like it's fucking rocket science. Well, clearly it is to you, right? And so much as you think you're figuring it out, you're just making the simple even more complex. You really are. And, it's not all your fault, obviously, because I'm sure, like most people, at least in the urban environment, right, in the developed world, like your body has been assaulted by all kinds of stuff since you were very, very little, right? Like, yeah, we're all coming out of those environments, we're all screwed up to a certain degree, yeah, no doubt about it. But just by concentrating on food, like making food your god, right? I mean, if that's not a sign of an eating disorder, then I don't know what is, right? For starters, but putting so much faith, right, in food, you're completely ignoring some of these other factors that probably got you to where you are right now, right? Well, so then clearly you're gonna miss the mark. You are missing the mark, right? Because you're just hyper focused on food, and then instead of if if it were that it was just the food or it's one of the problems, right? Instead of going back to your roots, you're listening to the same people that fucked you up in the first place and are still fucking you up. And I'm not saying they're doing this maliciously either, right? Some of them are, but they don't know what they're doing. Clearly, right? Why the fuck are they studying what to eat, right? Why? Because they don't know what to eat. Duh. Like, can I make this any simpler, right? Who didn't study what to eat, right? Who didn't research what to eat? The people that knew how to eat, right? Who was that? Well, just dig far back enough in your family tree and you'll find those people, right? Good luck. It's not fucking rocket science. It really isn't.